Good evening and welcome to Calm, Sleepy Tales. Here is another whimsical tale of mystery and warmth from Venn Sons, Clockmakers, featuring the elusive and oft-whispered legend of the ghostly apprentice. First, let's begin by letting go of the day and enjoy this moment of stillness. Find a comfortable position, let your head rest, and close your eyes. Take a slow, deep breath in and gently exhale. With each breath, imagine the air around you becoming softer, warmer, more peaceful. As you breathe, feel the tension in your jaw, your forehead, and your back begin to melt away. Let your hands rest. Let your feet soften. Feel your body begin to relax. Your shoulders, your arms, your legs, slowly becoming heavier, as if they're sinking gently into the bed beneath you. Imagine the worries of the day slowly dissolving, like mist in the morning sunlight, drifting away, leaving only peace behind. You are safe. You are warm. You are exactly where you need to be. Let yourself surrender to this comfort. And when you're ready, we'll begin tonight's story. In the quiet tick and tock of Widdersham, most folk know better than to rush. Time has its own peculiar gait in this town, sometimes pausing to admire a garden, sometimes tripping over a cat, and nowhere is this more evident than inside Venn Sons, Clockmakers. The little brass sign above the door glints proudly in the morning mist, and inside the air is steeped in the scent of polish, old velvet, and patient magic. Clocks murmur and chime in polite conversation, and behind the counter, Aurelius Venn leans over a dissected carriage clock, his eyes as sharp as minute hands. But ask any local, anyone who's lived in Widdersham long enough to stop questioning odd things, and they'll tell you the clocks aren't the only things ticking in that shop. There's the matter of the ghostly apprentice. Children in Widdersham love the tale, whispered beneath patchwork quilts, or between spoonfuls of fudge at the misty teacup. He only appears on stormy nights, they'll say, eyes wide. You'll hear hammering when the thunder rolls, but the back workbench will be empty. Sometimes a tea mug floats, just a bit. My cousin said he left a broken pocket watch there overnight, and the next morning it ticked perfectly, but no one had touched it. The grown-ups say little, except perhaps for Mrs. Fairweather, who claims she glimpsed a pale figure through the fogged workshop window after a thunderclap, and Mr. Digby, who swears he heard a clock laugh once. He was also sleep-deprived and possibly pickled in elderberry wine. No one knows the name of this ghostly apprentice, though Aurelius Venn has been heard, only once or twice, to say he was always curious, even in death. It's believed the apprentice was once a real boy, a tinkerer of immense promise, taken under Aurelius's wing many years ago, perhaps a century, depending on which version of the tale you get. He was quiet, clever, and always covered in smudges of brass dust and glue. He adored complicated locks, winding keys, and clocks with too many hands. And then, one particularly fierce stormy night, the apprentice vanished. Some say lightning struck the clock tower and scrambled time itself. Others whisper he tried to fix a clock that should never have been opened, one of the sacred timepieces that keeps the world stitched neatly together. All that's agreed upon is this: after that night, Aurelius worked alone. But things in the shop began happening. On rainy nights, the clocks tick slightly faster, only by a second, but enough to make the cats of Widdersham twitch. Customers occasionally find their repairs finished before they're even dropped off. A small, ghostly hammer was once seen tapping gently at a gear under the moonlight, then vanished like mist. Once, during the equinox, every cuckoo clock in the shop chirped at the same time, despite being set hours apart, and spelled out "thank you" in the chimes. Children who enter the shop alone sometimes find a tray of sweets set out for them, though Aurelius insists he keeps no such tray. Aurelius Venn does not speak of the apprentice unless pressed, and even then he chooses his words like screws, small and essential. He's still learning, he once told Miss Thorne of second chapter, after she found a gear tucked mysteriously into her book bag. He's quite gifted, sloppy with minute springs, but brilliant with balance wheels. And once, just once, A child overheard Aurelius whisper as he wound a rare compass watch. "Still here, aren't you? Good lad." They say the workshop's back door, always locked, creaks open just a crack during thunderstorms. Aurelius never minds. He sets out a spare stool, and sometimes, just for a second, the tools on the second bench begin to move. The ghostly apprentice, it's said, is still mastering his craft. Sometimes he reassembles things backwards. A lady once received a wristwatch that told the time in reverse. But strangely, it helped her remember names she thought she'd forgotten. Once he enchanted a grandfather clock to tell dreams instead of hours. It was returned the next day by a fisherman who hadn't slept in years and wept when the clock whispered of calm seas. Another time, the ghost slipped a time loop into a music box, just a small one, allowing a grieving widower to relive the sound of his wife's humming each night before sleep. He's clumsy, they say, but full of heart. And as Aurelius always says, time forgives much when it's kept with care. Ask any child in Widdersham on a rainy day, and they'll press their nose into the glass of Venn Sons, looking for the flicker of a translucent figure with rolled up sleeves and half-moon spectacles. "Do you think he knows we can see him?" they'll ask. "Maybe he's lonely. Maybe he's waiting for the right clock to finish." And inside, Aurelius will polish a pocket watch or align a pendulum with infinite grace. And if you listen very, very closely on a stormy night, just as lightning cracks and the wind howls down the chimney, you might hear it. Tap, tap, tap. Not thunder, not rain, just the sound of a ghost learning how to fix time, one gear at a time.